All right. So you've probably heard, if you follow me for a while, you've heard me say this before. When three come up from one, so we've got three kings here. It's very telling the king that's missing. Which king is missing? The king of pentacles, the king of coins, right? He's not here. Now he's the hardworking one. Not to say that the rest of them don't. Kings are all at the top, right? They've all reached mastery of their suit. So great energy where we have three kings coming. Now this can be a very competitive energy. It can be one person. This could be different elements of you. And usually I would see that where there's multiple kings coming up or queens or whatever. It doesn't matter if you're masculine, feminine. We all have that energy. The point of the king is that it's mastery. They take care of their people. They have a kingdom to run. They decide what needs to be done. So the one that's missing, and I just want to talk about him for a moment, is the King of Pentacles. Now, he is the one that's grounded. He's hardworking. He's focused on his money. He's focused on the practical stuff. He's focused on the physical reality of what's happening here. The fact that he's not here means that this is a lot of internal shifts that are going on, a lot of internal changes that are going on. And Aries, you might even be trying to figure out, who am I? Which is huge for Aries because your whole thing, Aries rules the first house. That is this is who I am. I am. That's Aries. This is who I am. And so if you have three different kings coming up, very much internal stuff going on here. So let's have a look. We have the King of Swords coming up as the underlying energy. And this is your energy. This is your truth. What knowledge do you have? What truth have you come into? The King of Swords is very removed from his emotions. That's not to say he doesn't have them. It means he's not going to consult them. He's going to detach from them and he's going to logically figure out what is best for me in this situation. So it's air energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Remember though, the signs do not own the cards. They just lend their characteristics. And this is very much air energy, logical. What are we doing here? What have I learned from everything I've been through? What's my experience taught me? What knowledge do I have? That's big. That's big for this week. A lot of kind of, with the King of Swords and the King of Wands coming up, this is very much about what is powering this. What is the logic behind this? What are we trying to create here? There's been a massive transformation for you, Aries. And I'm going to say it again. I really feel like this is the week where you step into your new persona. You step into this new person that you have become. And it begins with an idea, maybe, because of the King of Swords is here. A communication, whenever any of the court cards from the suit of swords shows up, that is very much about what are we thinking? What's the decision that needs to be made here? Thoughts, communication, exchange of ideas, that kind of energy. But the focus, the heart of the reading, what everything else revolves around, is around the Judgment card. Judgment is brutal energy. I say that all the time. Now, it's amazing energy. It leads to transformation. It leads to second chances, to rebirth, to becoming someone new. And yet it is painful. That's why I say it's brutal energy. All of those things are amazing. We say, oh, it's the phoenix rising up from the ashes, but the bloody phoenix got burnt to a crisp. It got burnt to ash before it rose up from the ashes, right? And that's kind of what's happened to you. You've been consumed by this fire. Judgment is when it asks for a judgment call to be made. Now, we have the perfect person here to do this. We have three of perfect people here to do it. But all three of them are going to come at this from a different angle. So whatever this judgment call is that needs to be made, how do we do that? Well, we look back over the cycle that we've just been through. The major arcana runs from 0 to number 21, which is the world, or from 1, the magician, to 0, the fool, depending on how you look at it. The fool's the kind of transitional phase. And this is number 20. So there's only one card left in the cycle after this, which is the world. That's how we complete that major life cycle. So judgment asks us, have a look. What have you been doing? What have you gone through? What have you learned from this? It's taking the lessons. That's what the King of Swords does anyway. Drawing a line under it and moving forward. Now, it's called judgment, and it's massive because once we make that, we know we're not going back. We know once we make this decision, once we make this shift, once we make this judgment call, we're done with that. We're never going back to it. So it's very decisive. It's massive energy. And because it's a major arcana card, it's to do with a major life change. I'm not, me, I don't do whole kind of rainbows, unicorns and, fantastical stuff. I'm very kind of realistic in the way that I read. But this energy, if you can use it correctly, you can change your life. This could be the turning point for a massive life change that comes in for you. Now, how do we draw a line under stuff? Like sometimes we can get caught up on, well, he did this to me and she did this to me and blah, 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 and all this kind of stuff. Judgment says sometimes we need to forgive. We need to forgive other people. And we don't forgive other people to say, hey, well done for stabbing me in the back or whatever you did to me. That's not what judgment is. That's not what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is, this will no longer hurt me. This will no longer have power over me. Whoever it was, and the way I always look at it is I always think people do the best they can with what they know in the moment. But sometimes the person we need to forgive is ourselves. It's ourselves. It's we need to say that, look, I did the best that I could. I know better now. I'll take care of myself better next time. I'll do something differently next time. It's a massive energy of transformation, rebirth, and second chances coming in. Now, second chance doesn't have to be with the same person or the same job or the whatever, that I get that job back or I get that person back. That's not what judgment says. A second chance at something or the rebirth, it's when we think something's dead and gone, but it isn't. So you might have said, I'm never going to fall in love again. I'm never going to be able to be at the top of my career again. And yet judgment says, yes, you can be. Release that. Learn what you did from that. Take that knowledge and go forward now. Now, something that you've been doing for a while, because we have the hangman or the hangman coming up as the past or the foundation. This could be last week, last month, last year, whatever. But what it says is you have been stuck in this bloody place of limbo for a while. That's why it's such a shift. It's the change is so dynamic. Now, the whole reason you were stuck here, a lot of you might have been wondering, saying, nothing's been going on, Jay. I've just been stuck. Have a look at this guy. He's hanging upside down, but it looks pretty... It doesn't look like he's struggling. He's there by design, right? He's almost like an acrobat doing an act. He is literally seeing the world from a different perspective. He's upside down. Everything's upside down here. He's seeing things differently. Now, the hangman, it asks us to release something of the ego, something that we're attached to, see it from a different perspective, surrender. The hangman is about surrender and sacrifice. Where we accept, is radical acceptance of where we are. He's not struggling. He could, but imagine it's like, all right, I'm hanging here. What do I need to know from being here? What do I need to see from being here? Once he gets the information that he needs, once he sees that change, has that change in his perspective. And sometimes this can play out as a change in our philosophy on life. I am not this anymore. I'm someone else. When that happens, he can get down and then things start moving very quickly. But you've been stuck in a time of limbo with this coming up, trying to figure out, this can be sometimes where we feel like our hands are tied. There's nothing that we can do. But you can. You can. Of course you can, because you have the King of Wands coming up in your present. Fire energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius energy. So this is very much your element. And what is the King of Wands like? Well, first of all, he's very confident. Very confident. He's passionate. He's creative. And he's all about pursuing those things that he's passionate about. What does he want to create? He's going to take action. He's going to go for it. He's not afraid of anything, And the thing is, the King of Wands sometimes can be seen, he's not as unreliable as the Knight of Wands. But the King of Wands is very much that energy of, because if it's fun, if I'm enjoying it, I'm going to go for it. He's in the spotlight. He's standing out there. I mean, he's always the most, have a look at these three kings. Have a look at all three of them, right? King-like, right? He's always the one in reds and spectacularly dressed. And look at him. The showman. I always see him as the celebrity that he's coming out and saying, hey, look at me. Look at what I can do. Look what I have to offer. Look at the action that I'm about to take. So that's pretty impressive energy there together. The head, the ideas, the logic, the plan, the knowledge to know what to do, combined with the action to go for it. Now, if you can do that, and not everyone will, because remember, all the cards show you is the energy that is available to you. If you can step into that, if you can say, I'm passionate about this and I'm going to go for it, I want to create this. If you can do that, what does it lead to? It leads to a new beginning. But remember this, I want you to think of this clearly. Too often in the world, people wait for the opportunity and then they step up. This is about stepping up first. Tapping into your knowledge, tapping into your passions, in whatever sense. If this is a relationship reading for you, then this is about you standing out and saying, well, let's go do this or let's go do that. It's deciding what action to take. You speaking your mind, speaking your heart. Now, if this is about, and I say heart because of the King of Cups there, the King of Swords on his own won't do that. This is work. You have the plan. You take the action. You go for a second chance. You leave everything up. Forget what happened in the past. I'm about to go for it now. Where does that lead? That leads to your true new beginning. We have the star coming in here. And that's just it. You know, you might not even know what it is that you want to do. That's why I feel like it's very internal. Whatever is going on here, it's very internal. Now, sometimes we can deal with other people. You know, you might be dealing with an air sign. You might be dealing with a fire sign. You might be dealing with a water sign. You might be dealing with these people. But then we take on some of their energy, right? The King of Swords is going to be the one that has the battle of wits and words with another King of Swords. The King of Wands is the one that's going to go toe to toe when it comes to creation and passion and stuff with another King of Wands or Queen of Wands or whatever, right? So remember this. Don't get too caught up on the star signs and get in touch with the energy. And we all have these energies within us. But the star is about picking your star. There's so many stars in the night sky. So many. You pick the one that's yours. That's when you know what your true north is. That's where you know where you're headed. That's what I want. And then you use that dream, that wish, that star to guide you. For some of you, this is literally about stepping up and being the star. I don't know what it is. If someone's like a writer or, I don't know, you make videos or whatever it is that you do, being recognized in your field, it can very much, this energy is great for that. But you step up first, remember that. Then you become the star. This is guidance and this is hope returning. But you make it happen. 2 kings come up first before that. Now, what's the advice? And remember, the advice card here, these two both lead to that. So yeah, the passion, the creativity, the bravado, the confidence, you know, all of that is great. But don't forget to be the King of Cups. We have the King of Cups as the advice. And he's all heart. He's all heart. He knows how he feels. He's very emotionally aware. And what sits underneath the Hanged Man here is the King of Cups. Whatever you learned from this pause here, it wasn't to do with your actions. It wasn't to do with your thoughts. It was to do with how you feel. That's why you were stuck in limbo. So you could figure out and look at your emotions in a different way. Now, the thing with the King of Cups is, and I say this all the time, still waters run very deep with him. Because those are very deep emotions that we have, right? What do I love? How do I feel? Is this making me happy? Those kinds of things. If you can tap into all of this, then you have a new path. Then you have a new path. But this is all very internal energy.